Tell you a side story. I have no idea why I'm telling you this story, but it's in my head, so I have to say it. Rav Spadron, alav shalom, says anytime he would give lectures, Rav Spadron is one of the Gdolei Ador in the previous generation. He was not only a Kiruv rabbi, but he was a huge, giant Chacham, Talmid Chacham, he was a Gadol. He says when he came give shurim, sometimes he would have a story in his head, he'd have to say it. He says, why? Hashem put this in my head for me to say it, not for me to just think, oh, why the story? The story has nothing to do with the lecture, but Hashem put it in my head, it has to do with the lecture. Why? Somebody has to hear it. So apparently the story that I have in my head, somebody has to hear it. One time, I was in New York, and I went to see Rav Mizrahi. And I think we did a shiur together, or I went to visit him, something like that. A few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Anyway, after he finished the shiur, we went out to eat together. Now, the only place in the world that has food at 1:30 in the morning is New York, by the way. So you don't have to ask where it is. New York. So we went out, and there's a sushi place. So me, Rabbi Mizrahi, and I, and another guy went out to some sushi place at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we're sitting there, and I'm not exactly a big sushi eater. I'm not a big fan of fish to begin with. But aside from that, I just, whatever, wasn't that hungry. Whatever, I ordered, I don't know, a roll or whatever they're called. And everybody ordered whatever they ordered. So I ate, I don't know, half my roll. It's called a roll, right? Called a roll. So I ate half the thing. I don't know, there's, let's say, 6 of them, 6 little thingies. I ate half of it. I wasn't that hungry. So, we're talking, and Rabbi Zach is looking at me, and, we're talking, and he's saying this and this, and he's looking at me. He goes, no, eat. I said, I ate, I'm full. He goes, no, bal tashchit. I had the shock of my life. I said, I didn't mean to, I'm just not hungry. He goes, okay, give me. No. So the other guy had it. But he's right, you're not allowed to be wasteful. You have to be very careful not to be wasteful. Why? It's mitzvah in the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you parnasah, don't waste it for no reason. The mouse that started us in this whole little roller coaster is a very wasteful being. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a rasha. He's wicked. Wickedness. But anyway, so these animals, Rabotai Karim, these animals have bad nature. And when a person eats this bad-natured animals, those bad-natured animals turn into his blood, turn into him, turn into her. Which means what? They become bad-natured. You eat the pork sandwich, guess what? You are going to acquire the worst possible character traits known to man, because the pig has the worst nature of all. It's literally such an impure animal that a Jew is not even allowed to raise a pig to sell to the goyim. Now, you're allowed to have a zoo and have a lion in it if you want. You're allowed, even if you're a Jew. You're allowed, if you want to have a pet store and sell mice, go ahead, have a good time. It's not exactly, I don't know if it's very lucrative or not. I guess maybe because your product is free, you get it from the street or the subways. But the point is that but if you have a farm, you're not allowed to have a pig. Why? It's such an impure animal. Not allowed to raise a pig. Now, the pig, Rabotai Karim, is such a disgusting animal. It literally eats everything. Literally. Diapers, with stuff in them, animals, people, anything you throw at it, it eats. It bathes in manure, it bathes in filth, and it's such an impure animal, it doesn't sweat. Now, the way we, and pretty much almost all animals, excrete the poison from our body, one of the ways is sweat. A lot of the poison you have in your body exits your body through sweat. That's why, for example, if you have some type of virus or something like that, and you have a high temperature, eventually you're waiting for the temperature to break. What does it mean, temperature break? You start sweating profusely. Why? Because that means that stuff is leaving, the poison is leaving your body finally. If you're not sweating, it's very dangerous. The pig does not sweat. Now this means that all of the poison that it eats, all of the disgusting germs, the bacteria, the filth that it eats never exits its body. Now what does that mean? That means that his skin is so poisonous that even if a cobra, a snake, the most poisonous snake, the cobra, bites the pig, nothing happens to the pig. In fact, they throw snakes into the pits of the pigs because the snakes can't do anything to them, so they eat them. Could be the biggest, most poisonous snake in the world, can't do nothing to the pig. Now what part of the pig do people love eating? The skin. The most poisonous part. This is why, and I've seen this with my own eyes, if you take a piece of pig steak and you take regular cow steak and you buy them from the best butcher in town, wherever you have, you take both of them, you pour Coca-Cola on them. Within a matter of literally moments, you're going to see maggots come out of the pig steak. Always, even if it was just slaughtered 5 seconds ago, that'll make a difference. There are always, by default, always maggots inside its skin. That's how poisonous it is. And people eating this, bacon, egg, and cheese, yummy, 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 and then they wonder why they have cancer. In fact, Rabotai, I saw an expert chef say it in his own words. Even if the pig has cancer, they still sell it. With the cancer. So the whole thing is poisonous. With cancer, without cancer, the whole thing's poisonous. Doesn't make a difference. And people are wondering why there's such high cancer rate. Now, aside from that, the pig is a very vicious animal. Very bad-natured animal, and people that eat much of it have that same nature. When it comes to cleanliness, when it comes to just their behavior overall, their vicious mentality, and so on and so forth. You'd noticed that some of the most vicious nations throughout history loved it as a food. The Russian communists love pig. Just as a side note, they love pig. And that's why their mentality is very, very different than rather many of the other nations. So, because the pig turns to blood, and the cow turns to blood, and this one, everything turns to blood, it turns into the person, and in essence, that turns into the person literally. The nature of that animal is starting to affect the person itself. Which is the reason why when a person starts doing tshuva and they start eating kosher, within a relatively short period of time you start seeing that the person's nature starts changing. It's not because he's become so studious and he read 5 books. Although those books are really good and they may have helped him, that's not the main thing that has changed him that much. Even if the books helped his character traits to realize that anger is not good, how come his face looks softer? How come his eyes look softer? How come he just looks softer? He used to look like he's about to kill you just by looking at you. Now he looks like Saba Geppetto, looks like a nice little guy. Wow, what happened? Yesterday you look like you were killing people for a living. Today you look like you're giving people bachot. What happened? The blood is different. The blood is different. It's had enough time to let all of the impure blood leave and be replaced by kosher blood.